Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines this morning. Disney getting into the metaverse. It's pretty crazy. ETHgate is spreading. The house of cards is coming down. We got a tech lawyer that's going to speak to it. Veteran trader says Ethereum is losing value against its top competitor at the same time of ETHgate unfolding. College study from China on trading cross-border payments highlighting the use of Ripple and, yes, XRP. You're going to love it. MENA region possibly partnering with Binance. We already know they're partnered with Ripple. And for further expansion, could this become a catalyst for XRP price? We got this and so much more. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Let's unpack this thing. It's $1.942 trillion cryptocurrency market cap. We're off by 0.65 this morning. Everything is still way off, but that's okay. That's okay. We got some fundamental news that tell me it's okay. Right now, Bitcoin's 41,400 right now, off by more than 12% on the 7-day. Ethereum almost 3,000 flat. We're looking at 19% plus on the 7-day down. And Solana right now, $138 and change. They're off by over 20% on the 7-day. Cardano, $1.15 off by 16 plus. XRP off by 12.4. On the 7-day, we're ringing in right at 74 cents. Let's look at the price range right here. 0.7407 on the bottom is exactly where the price is now. So currently, we're dropping, right? We're setting new lows right now. 0.7690 on the top, setting new lows currently for today. I mean by that, just so there's no confusion. The numbers are brought to you by PureVPN. Ladies and gentlemen, leave no trace of your identity online. This is one of the many layers of protection I use to hide my identity online. And I tell you, all you have to do is go to the description or the comment box, drop it down just like this, and click that link and get 88% off for a 5-year plan. It is really a great deal. A lot of these things are great specials in here. And by the way, if you go all the way down here, help John Deaton get on the Joe Rogan show. There's the link that takes you right to the page. I couldn't make it any simpler for you. Take a look at the news here. Disney patents tech for new theme park Metaverse. And this is what they say. You won't need those goggles, the VR goggles that that headsets that most people are using today. They plan on bringing the Metaverse to the physical world. This is not the first time Disney has indicated its interest in Metaverse. During company fourth quarter earnings call, November 21, it says here, Bob Chapek said the firm is preparing to blend physical and digital assets into Metaverse. We'll be able to connect the physical and digital worlds even more closely, allowing for storytelling without boundaries in our own Disney Metaverse. So the plan is to put it all throughout the park and create more deeper engagement with the guests that visit the park. That's going to be interesting, to see these Imagineers come into place, and put this all into place, I should say. Look, this is right here. John Deaton says, I have to admit it would be fun and very insightful podcast, tagging Jamie Vernon, the producer of the show, and Joe Rogan. If anyone is willing to speak the truth to power, it's definitely Rogan. That is for sure. I'm going to highlight it right here where he's talking to this gentleman about cryptocurrency and just give you Joe Rogan's point of view on how crypto plays out here. It's one of two scenarios. Check it out.
And I have a lot of hope for cryptocurrencies. I really do. I don't know too much about them, but Bitcoin seems to be the one, in the Ethereum, the ones that the people who are in the know talk about the most. And my point is that what we're seeing right now, it's either going to go one way or the other. It's either going to fall apart completely, or we're going to use this as an opportunity to right the ship and come up with a better way to live our lives.
And that's really it. Joe Rogan's such a smart guy. I love his show, follow him a lot. But I have to say, we need to get John Deaton on there, not only to broaden the voice and explain what's going on with the XRP class action lawsuit and the SEC versus Ripple, and how the SEC is trying to really harm all the retail holders that hold this asset, right? Because they say we shouldn't be able to hold it, because who else has been harmed here more than us? That's right. No one, right? To the degree we have, no one. So the plot thickens here. And I tell you, while all of this is happening, because we also need to get him on the Joe Rogan show, so John Deaton can also explain to Joe Rogan that Ethereum is not the investment you really think it is, and explain the monopoly that has been taking place from day one with working in collusion, I believe, with the SEC behind the scenes at the time. This is Peter Brandt, who issued a warning saying Ethereum traders that ETH will lose value against the top competitor. That top competitor is no surprise, Solana. And it's really citing that, and he doesn't speak about the case or the what has been kicked up as far as ETHgate, but he's speaking here just about, one project versus another. Solana is taking the business away from them. Now, what's interesting is that this gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Listen to this point that goes to the lawsuit and how we have been sidelined as U.S. investors. The complaint from Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, and Chris Larson from the SEC claims XRP has no utility, and the founder CEOs sell XRP to enrich themselves. Says here, the SEC made the same claim during oral argument. If the SEC truly believed these claims, why didn't it seek an injunction to stop ongoing sales? What a great question and point to be made, because this is all on January 4th when Leonidas reminds us all that after 4-month pause, Jed McCaleb, former creator of XRP Ledger, has started selling his XRP again, which was received in a settlement for his departure of the company, with 700 million XRP left in his taco stand wallet. And who's he selling it to? That's the other great question here. While both Ripple and McCaleb get to continue to sell XRP, XRP holders have their XRP frozen in IRA accounts and can't sell or convert their XRP until the case is over. Now think of that. This is the point I've been making for quite some time on the channel. So tell me, who is the SEC protecting by bringing the enforcement action the way it did? Utter disgrace. It really is. And Jeremy Hogan backs him up and says this is a great point. The SEC can and should have filed for an injunction if it truly believed ongoing sales of XRP were illegal. So then there's only left the one question that we ask here from time to time. Will we be able to continue to hold it, buy it, sell it, trade it in the same manner we were before this case really came about? The plot thickens. Here is more evidence of the SEC and them trying. They have tried in the recent days. I just showed over the weekend a letter of the SEC saying they have made no determination publicly on what Bitcoin and Ether or Ethereum 2.0 or any other cryptos are. Period. And it's important to know this stuff, ladies and gentlemen, because I tell you, they're trying to pull a fast one. Because the reality here, just like Stephen Hubert points out, is that the commission, the SEC, has also publicly recognized Ethereum and its native currency Ether. See the William Hinman, Director of Division of Corporate Finance speech, right? And in Howie Gary Plastic Test, June 14, 2018, when he gave the speech. That is the SEC as an agency citing his speech as guidance, which they are now currently today trying to back away from. This is another quote from another publication saying exactly the same thing. And here it is again, the same exact statement saying right here, has publicly recognized Ethereum and its native currency Ether through the William Hinman speech. This is the kind of left-handed bullshit that they're trying to pull, and we cannot let them off the hook. Because they're trying to have it any way that they need to have it for the moment they're in, whether it's the SEC versus Ripple case or whether it's just dealing with the general public and protecting investors, as they say. And here's a bigger problem with all of this in ETHgate. This is Preston Byrne, who is a tech lawyer. And he brings it up right here. My view for years has been that Ethereum presale was mostly bought up by a handful of people working in concert. Here, Joe Lubin discusses disguising mega whale purchases to make them look like a legit crowdfunding. And this is what I have had pinned to the top of my Twitter profile for months, right? We've been covering this for a long time. You know, and the idea of Joe Lubin explaining to investors and whales how to disguise their purchases makes it look like that there were thousands of more purchases from different individuals, which would make an argument for decentralization, but it also makes an argument for fraud if, in fact, it's a small handful of investors like Preston's talking about that created different accounts in that manner. Something has got to be done. And while all of that is happening, and while Ripple is under the gun with the SEC, wait till you see this next couple pieces of news here. Ripple is committed to a clean, prosperous, and secure low-carbon future. That's why we have a plan to reach carbon net zero by 2030 in just 8 years. This is the company that is being sued by the SEC. That they're really trying to reach a carbon net zero future for their ledger, for all their customers and clients, and they're being sued, right? And then this is a study coming out of China, a vocational college there, and basically what they're breaking down from Wrath of Commons shows us, and I went and got the link in the PDF here from the image he showed, which is how the payment and settlement mode of blockchain-based cross-border business trade would go with Ripple and, yes, XRP in the mix here. And you can see Bank A, Ripple Connection, Market Maker, Ripple Network, XRP, Ripple Connection, Bank B. Isn't that better? Isn't that better? That's what we're talking about here. This is the path. And you know what? Look who's getting ready to put all that to work here. It's the MENA region. That's right, the Middle East and North African region. Because they don't care what the SEC thinks, right? So could Binance and Ripple, both entities facing legal risk in the USA, be looking towards the Middle East for future expansion? Oh, I think that is a resounding yes, because let us not forget, Ripple launched cross-border payments platform in the MENA region, and it was with PYY, Dubai-based company, PYYPL, which is pronounced people, okay? And that brings us to this, which Ripple has been eyeing the MENA markets due to the value of its remittance networks. Its partnership with People to deploy on-demand liquidity in the Middle East was one such example, as well as its regional headquarters in Dubai. Meanwhile, Binance is reportedly looking into its own Dubai headquarters. In fact, in late December, the crypto exchange giant signed a memorandum of understanding, known as MOUs, with the Dubai World Trade Center Authority to create an industry hub. So, could Binance and Ripple, both entities facing legal risk in the USA, be looking towards the Middle East for future expansion? If so, which country might they choose? You know, to this point, I have to say, you know, this is where we're going, ladies and gentlemen. For the SEC to argue that XRP doesn't have any use case, the best thing to do is to fire up all your partnerships around the world as actual evidence that the SEC is wrong in that claim. And I think that's why we're seeing this take place, right? So with that being said, I do want to touch on this because I touched on it Sunday. Matt Hamilton gave a great thread explaining that there's no such thing as ISO compliant cryptos, and he's right. And I offered the explanation that a lot of us use the ISO compliant cryptos or ISO 20022 tokens, right, or cryptos as shorthand. We use it as shorthand because we understand that the ISO compliant messages are for communication, and it is in itself, it's something which uses cryptocurrencies like XRP to convey value. Exactly. So the ISO 20022 is the new de facto global standard payment messaging language that is being adopted, and ISO 20022 has been around for at least 10 years, I've seen in articles, right? But adopting everyone to that messaging standard in complement with bringing Ripple onto the standards body committee for ISO 20022 and now Stellar Foundation as well, really shows that they are brought on to implement distributed ledger technology. I've shown it from the Ripple website many times. That is the job of them on the standards body committee. So it is a complement to really bring together the messaging layer of the ISO 20022 with the implementation of distributed ledger technology, which ultimately allows for the settlement option in digital assets like XRP, the bridge currency, right? And Matt Hamilton does point out, rightfully so, that the issue is the shorthand is getting misinterpreted. People are thinking that XRP is somehow superior because it is compliant with ISO 20022. No. And I would say that, well, obviously, Matt's obviously right. Matt is like a uber smart developer and way above my pay grade. But what I do understand about this quite simply is that we don't want to turn this into pick and pepper out of fly shit. Right? We want to get this where we understand it. And where we understand it is that it's the complement of having DLT incorporated with the messaging layer of ISO 20022. That much I understand. Because if we don't bring those two elements together and the ability to settle with a digital asset like XRP or XLM, then all we've done is upgrade ourselves in the financial system to the new digital world that is got the same level of friction in it as the paper world. And that's what we're looking to eliminate. So when you hear people talk about ISO 20022 compliant tokens, what they're really talking about is tokens that are ultimately meant to work with the ISO 20022 messaging system and the finance sector that is using that as the new global de facto standard, which is a complement with the implementation of DLT. I think you understand why we use shorthand now, right? Let's not get hung up in the little stuff, but we understand what's happening there. All right. Now, with that being said, you have to ask yourself the question here in the statement, new all-time high incoming for XRP. You know, when you're opening up more corridors and expanding into regions like the Middle East and North Africa with like people and being able to settle cross-border payments that way, and over in Japan, more corridors opening between there and the Philippines and other places around the world, you have to ask yourself at some point, will we see that become a catalyst from the demand, right? And the market makers buying more of the asset itself to hold it, because at some point there will be a perpetual flywheel effect to where the market makers that deal with this asset every day want to buy as much of it today because they know at some point tomorrow it will always cost more. Right? We're not there yet, obviously, but at some point there has to be that kind of a tipping point or things aren't going the way they need to, isn't it? That's going to do it for me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, leave a comment below, share with somebody you know. That's your news on this day. Can't wait for the next video. And by the way, there's going to be a huge, and I do mean a huge, special on Link 2 Private Investing Made Simple tomorrow. Do not miss it. Do not miss it. I'll catch all of you on the next one.